Welcome. Well, we got another Alien movie coming out soon, and so I figured why not check out the original that started it all. Alien is a 1979 science fiction horror film directed by Ridley Scott and written by Dan O'Bannon. And it was produced by Gordon Correll, David Giller, and Walter Hill through their company Brandywine Productions, and the film was distributed by 20th Century Fox. And with the alien and its artifacts being designed by the GOAT himself, H.R. Giger. So I'm pretty sure everybody knows about this film. It is deemed as one of the greatest science fiction films of all time, and as one of the greatest horror films of all time. So I figured, why the hell not? So without further ado, let's check it out. And the film begins in space in the year 2122, where we get a slow-ass title card. Then we see the commercial spaceship, the Nostromo, on its journey to return to Earth with a 7-member crew in hypersleep, until the ship receives a message and wakes up the crew, which includes Executive Officer Kane, played by the late great John Hurt, Captain Dallas, played by Tom Skerritt, last seen on this show in Top Gun. Then there's Warrant Officer Ellen Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver, and Navigator Lambert, played by Veronica Cartwright, Science Officer Ash, played by the late great Sir Ian Holm, and Engineer Parker, played by Yabek Koto, and the other engineer Brett, played by the late great Harry Dean Stanton, as they get up, get some chow, and puff a smoke. We also meet the ship's computer, Mother, voiced by Helen Horton. Anyways, Dallas talks to Mother, who detected a transmission from a nearby moon, which is why the crew haven't arrived to Earth, and that they pretty much have to investigate it, but the technicians don't want to. But Ash tells them that they have to follow company policy to investigate it, or else.
On penalty of total forfeiture of shares. Money.
You got that?
Shit, Negro, that's all you had to say.
And so the crew dispatch from the Nostromo and land on the moon, which results in some damage to the ship. And so Dallas, Kane, and Lambert head out to investigate the signal's origin, while Ripley and Ash stay behind to monitor their progress, along with Brett and Parker, who are making repairs, which is gonna be a long wait.
Alarm, the hull is functional.
What? It's 17 hours, fella.
At least 25 hours.
That's some old bullshit.
Then the search party discovered the signal is from a crashed alien spaceship, and they go inside and find the remains of a large mummified alien, aka the space jockey, with a hole in its torso. And believe me, we won't know about them until years later. Anyways, back at the ship, Mother deciphers part of the transmission, which Ripley determines is a warning. Meanwhile, Kane discovers a big-ass chamber containing hundreds of large eggs, where he approaches one that opens up, and this happens. Yeah, after that shit, Dallas and Lambert carry Kane's British ass back to the Nostromo, but Ripley refuses to let him board. Why?
Listen to me. If we break quarantine, we could all die.
Huge steaming ball of foreshadowing.
However, Ash overrides her decision and lets them in, and they remove Kane's helmet only to see that the facehugger is tightening its grip. Then Ash attempts to remove it, but he discovers that it has acidic blood, which can hurt Kane, and it makes a fucking hole. Later on, the facehugger eventually detaches itself, and the crew go looking for it.
Kane? Dallas?
That was easy. Like stealing candy from helpless orphans.
And so the crew return to space as their ship is repaired, and Kane awakens with some memory loss, but otherwise seems fine. And during a final meal before returning to hypersleep, Kane doesn't feel too good, and it's not because of the food. And we get one of the most iconic scenes of the film.
Shit just went from 0 to 100 real fucking quick.
Oh, and fun fact, the actors had no idea this sequence was gonna happen because Ridley Scott wanted their reactions to be real. And yeah, that's real terror and confusion in their eyes. Anyways, a small alien escapes into the ship and they say their last goodbyes to Kane as they eject his body out of an airlock. And damn, they don't even play bagpipes for his funeral. Then the crew attempts to locate the alien with tracking devices so they can kill it. And they believe they have it cornered. God damn it, cat, get the fuck out of the way. Then Brent follows the cat, Jones, into a landing leg compartment. However, they're not alone, as we get to see the now fully grown alien.
Man, I wouldn't want to be that guy.
Anyways, the crew determines that the alien must be in the air ducts. Dallas enters the ducts with a flamethrower, intending to force the alien into an airlock, but it proved to be easier said than done.
Bitch.
So the crew, having none of this shit, want to abandon the fucking ship. But Ripley, who is now in charge, explains that their escape shuttle will not support 4 people and insists on continuing Dallas's plan to flush out the alien. And Ripley later discovers while accessing Mother that the company has secretly ordered Ash to return with the alien for study and to consider the crew expendable. She confronts Ash, who tries to kill her by magazine asphyxiation. Luckily, Parker intervenes with one hell of a swing.
It's a robot. Ash is a goddamn robot.
Oh my god!
So yeah, turns out Ash was just a robot, and the crew reactivate his severed head, and he confirms the company's orders and states that the alien is unkillable while expressing his admiration for it.
I admire its purity, unclouded by conscience, remorse, or delusions of morality.
And taunting the crew about their chances for survival.
I can't lie to you about your chances, but you have my sympathies.
What an asshole!
And Ripley, having none of that shit, shuts him down and Parker fries his ass. So the crew decides to self-destruct the Nostromo and escape into the shuttle, as now they can survive with 3 people and a cat. However, Parker and Lambert are ambushed by the alien, and if you've seen enough horror movies, you know what will happen to Parker. And as for Lambert, the alien seems to take its time, as you see it putting its tail between her legs. And Ripley finds their corpses.
Well, we're boned.
And she tries to start the self-destruct sequence, but finds that the alien has blocked her path to the shuttle. And she retreats, and she tries to abort the self-destruct sequence, but she can't, so she flees back into the shuttle with the cat and narrowly escapes as the Nostromo explodes.
Few moments later.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
And after all that shit, Ripley prepares for hypersleep until she discovers she is not alone. And I am not talking about the cat.
Well, we're fucked.
So Ripley dons a spacesuit and flushes out the alien. And it approaches Ripley, but before it can kill her, Ripley does this. Yeah, hasta la vista, motherfucker. However, the alien manages to hang onto the ship and tries to sneak into one of the engines, which Ripley starts off and blasts the motherfucker away. And after all that shit, she records her final log entry, and she and Jones go into hypersleep for their trip back to Earth. And that was Alien. So the film was a commercial success, but its reception was surprisingly mixed, with some people liking it and some not. But despite that, the film would eventually win an Oscar award for Best Visual Effects, and was nominated for Best Art Direction, and it would later win a Saturn Award for Best Science Fiction Film and Best Direction for Ridley Scott and Best Supporting Actress for Veronica Cartwright. And pretty much like any successful film, it spawned a franchise of films, books, video games, and toys. And not to mention a shit ton of sequels that are still continuing to this day. And believe it or not, a high school would later produce a play version of Alien, which did go viral and got the attention of Ridley Scott. So with all that out of the way, so what did I think of the film? And yeah, I like it. It's still scary even to this day, with the alien behaving more like a serial killer, and not to mention its design is perfect, as H.R. Giger designed it to be biomechanical, which is perfect as it can perfectly blend in the background and you never know if it's there or not. Not to mention it having acidic blood was also pretty cool, and the characters were very likable. Well, of course, with the exception of Ash, he was more of a character you love to hate. Not to mention the performances were very good, as instead of astronauts, they behave more like space truckers. Also, the movie pulls the rug on you multiple times. Like for instance, with the protagonist, as you think it's John Hurt's character, Kane, but no, he actually kicks the bucket. Along with Dallas, who you think is gonna come in victorious until the alien takes his ass out. But instead, it's Ellen Ripley, which was very progressive at the time, as Ripley was originally gonna be a man, but it was changed to a woman, and the dialogue remained the same. Also, the special effects are pretty good, even for 1979. Well, of course, with the exception of the fake Ash head, but I'll make an exception. Also, you have to give Ridley Scott credit, as he didn't look into science fiction films while making this film, but instead he looked into horror movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre for inspiration. And I have to give credit to the writers, as the pacing in here is very good. Like for instance, the alien doesn't show up until an hour in, so we get to spend time with the characters. Not to mention it adds mystery onto the aliens itself and to the space jockey, which would later be answered in Prometheus. So overall, I enjoy the hell out of this film, and you'll enjoy it too, as you can see why it's considered one of the greatest sci-fi horror films of all time, and that it still holds up to this day. So I'll give it 5 xenomorphs out of 5. And that was the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos just like this. Oh, and if you like my work, support the channel at Ko-Fi. There you can support me with as little as $1 a month, and you could drop suggestions for any future projects you want me to check out, and you get to have your names in the credits. And if you do support me, I thank you very much, and I appreciate it very much. So again, stay safe out there, and goodbye.
Oh no, not again.
Oh, it's funny because it's true.